Salve omnes, welcome to this video lesson where we are going to chant the demonstrative pronouns. Now demonstratives, this comes from demonstro and demonstrare in Latin, which means to point out or show, compound of monstro, monstrare, which also means to point or show. Demonstrative pronouns point at a thing in a way. These are words like this and that in English. Now, just to explain a little bit so that we're clear, this in the plural in English is these. Okay, so I could say this man, but I have to say these men. And then another demonstrative that, the plural of that is those. So I'll say that book or I'll say those books, right? Now, there are three main demonstratives we're going to look at here in charts, and we're going to chant these. Is, ea, id, which is a weak demonstrative. You can translate it as this or that in the singular, and in the plural you can translate it as these or those. It does not specifically specify whether it's something close to you or far away. That's why you can choose this or that as you wish. Now also, is, ea, id, Latin doesn't have a personal pronoun like he, she, it, or they. It doesn't have a personal pronoun for the third person. So because of that, this is kind of the closest thing. So is sometimes is translated he, ea, she, it is it. And then in the plural, ae, ai, aa, of course those could all be they. Or they could just be these or those people, things, whatever, right? Now, hic, hike, hoke is always going to be this, or in the plural, he, hi, hike, those are always going to be these. Whereas ile, ila, ilud is always going to be that, and then ili, ila, ila is going to be those. A couple more things to point out about these. Hic means this, so it's the one close to you, where you are. And ile, ila, ilud is going to refer to something over there, over yonder, right? So further away from you. Another thing I'll note about that is if you're dealing with these in a story, then sometimes you can say for hic, hike, hoke, the latter, and for ile, ila, ilud, you might say the former. Why would you say the latter and the former? Well, the former thing would be further back in time. The latter thing would be the latest thing that you'd mentioned. So it'd be closer to you in time, in narrative space, you might think. So that's going to be the hic, hike, hoke, which is close to you. Ile, ila, ilud is further away from you. One more thing I'll point out is that ile, ila, ilud sometimes means that famous one. So, for example, if you want to say something like Alexander the Great, meaning the great, the famous one, or Winnie the Pooh, all right? Don't confuse him with any other Winnie. Then you're going to use ile, ila, ilud for that. So you can say Alexander ile Magnus, that great one. You could say Winnie ile Pooh, Winnie the Pooh, the famous one. If you wanted to say, that Cicero, meaning the famous Cicero, rather than say his brother Quintus Cicero, who wasn't as famous as Marcus, the famous one, you'd say ile Cicero. And sometimes the ile will actually follow. It's a common word order to say something like Cicero ile when it's referring to the famous one. That's kind of a dead giveaway that it means the famous one, the one, because usually all of these demonstratives will come in front of the noun. So I'll say like hic wir, ile wir, is wir, put it in front. So again, if the ile comes after, yeah, it's going to mean the famous one most likely. Alright, well that's a little introduction to all of these things, and let's chant them now. Let me start with hic, hike, hoke. Hic, hike, hoke, huyus, 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 huic, 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 hunk, honk, hoke, hoke, hock, hoke, he, hi, hike, horum, harum, horum, hees, 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 hos, hos, hike, hees, hees, hees. Alright, and now ile, ila, ilud, ile, ila, ilud, ilius, 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 ili, 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 ilum, ilam, ilud, ilo, ila, ilo, ili, ila, ila, ilorum, ilarum, ilorum, elis, 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 ilos, ilas, ila, elis, elis, elis. Now, is, ea, id, is, ea, id, eus, 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 ei, eum, eam, id, eo, ea, eo, ei, ai, ea, eorum, earum, eorum, eis, 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 eos, eas, ea, eis, eis, eis. Now, one thing I want to point out is if you look at, say, ile and is, ea, id, in the plural forms, and you look at all those endings, all of the case endings in the plural forms are all first and second declension endings. If you look at the singular forms of those, in the accusatives like illum and illam, and then eum and eam, those look like first and second declension. And then the ablative singulars, illo, illa, illo, ao, aa, ao, those also look like ablative singulars of first and second declension. But you do get weird nominatives, right? Ille and is, those are not normal first and second declension nominatives. The neuter forms, nominative and accusative, always end in D for those. Illud, illud, and then id and id. And then finally, one thing I want to point out for all of these demonstratives, and this goes for some other pronouns too, like say qui, qui, quod, which goes cujus, 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 and then cui, cui, cui in the dative. What I want to point out is that the genitive singulars all end in I-U-S. Now, US frequently seems like a nominative for us. So this is a remarkable thing. It's something that you should watch out for. A lot of pronoun forms, these are demonstrative pronouns, but also, again, like cujus and some others, are going to have IUS for the genitive singular ending. And then notice the dative singular, illy, 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 ei, those all end with I, long I. And then the hic, haec, hoc, one of the main differences between hic, haec, hoc forms and the other two we've talked about is that a lot of the hic, haec, hoc forms have a C on the end. So if you look at the dative singular of hic, haec, hoc, it's huic, huic, huic. Basically, they just took hui, which would have been the original dative, and they added this C suffix onto it, and you ended up with huic. So it's still got the IUS genitive singular and the I dative singular. You just have a C after the I. Well, I hope that made some sense. I hope you understood that. Let's just quickly chant each one again. Hic, haec, hoc, huyus, 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 huic, 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 hunc, honc, hoc, 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 he, hi, hike, horum, harum, horum, hees, 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 hos, hos, hike, hees, hees, hees. Ille, illa, illud, ilius, 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 illi, 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 illum, illam, illud, illo, illa, illo, illi, illi, illa, illorum, illarum, illorum, illis, 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 illos, illas, illa, illis, illis, illis. Is, ea, id, eus, 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 ei, 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 eum, eam, id, eo, ea, eo, ei, ei, ea, eorum, earum, eorum, eis, 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 eos, eas, ea, eis, eis, eis. Alright, and I'll leave you with one more thing. The ei that you get in the nominative plural masculine, and then the eis forms that you get in dative and ablative plural for all three genders, those can sometimes be ii and iis. That is to say, the initial short e is sometimes actually a short I. But it's still the same word, it's just a variant spelling. So ei or ii for the nominative masculine plural, and then iis or eis for the dative and ablative plural. Alright, hope that made sense and you learned a few things, enjoyed practicing. Walete.